Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Clio Krajewska, the production director of ISEA 2023. This is the handover ceremony. There is this tradition in each ISEA, the current host hands over to the next one. So this is what will happen now. And the master of the ceremony for this is Wim van der Plas, who is a co-founder of ISEA International. Wim, please come. The floor is yours.
I hope this is on. Hello, everybody. I'm not talking in French. The official language of ISEA is English. And my French is rather poor. In 1985, my good friend Theo Hesper, who is a computer scientist with a strong interest in culture, proposed to me to organize an event where the worlds of computer-generated imagery would meet with the world of computer music. The overall aim would be to have the realms of science and art work together. An enterprise that I, as a sociologist, considered as one of the most important challenges of our time. Theo came up with the name First International Conference on Electronic Art, as you can see there, announced for 1986. And you have an idea of what it was about when you look at the subjects. We were a bit too optimistic, of course, and it was decided that the name symposium sounded much nicer than conference. So the first international symposium on electronic art took place not in 86, but in 1988 in Utrecht in the Netherlands. The format was an academic conference surrounded by artistic events. During the first years after 1988, there were spontaneous requests by institutes around the world. Can we organize it next year or the year after, please? And we said yes or no, it went like that, very informal. And so the symposium went to Sydney, Minneapolis, Helsinki, Montreal, and we started to formulate a procedure so that host candidates had to send in a bid, just like the Olympic Games, including all the ingredients for a complete ISEA, the academic sessions, exhibitions, concerts, etc. So in the year 2000, the Azios Manov brothers brought us to a wonderful symposium venue called Forum des Images in a horrible shopping mall. 13 years later, we find ourselves back in this shopping hell. I'm old enough to remember this place to be full of fresh fruit and flowers. ISEA grew in importance, is now recognized as the most important nomadic event of its kind, being opened by proud ministers and mayors. ISEA 2023 reflects this status, with a well-organized academic kernel and an abundance of artistic events surrounding it, including the exhibition here at the Forum des Images. I know what a major job it is to organize an ISEA. You need about 2 years to recover from it. So I want to say thanks. Thank you, ISEA 23. And I have yes. I have a short list of people that I need to say thank you to, even though I don't know them all. And I'm sure there are many more, and I'm sorry for not being able to mention their names, but there must be lots of volunteers and people who have done things that I don't mention. But I want to mention the Forum des Images team, Claude Farge, director of the Forum, Michel Ziegler, director of digital strategy and director of new images, Salome Busnell, coordination officer, Nathalie Bouvier, director of event production and her team, the ISEA 2023 academic chairs, Elena Papadaki, Marianne Petit, François Joseph Lapointe, the academic programming team. That is the last people I mentioned were the co-chairs. This is the programming team. Emmanuel Mahé, Director of Research at the École for Decorative Arts and Academic Chair for ISEA 23. Edith Buzet, Associate Director of Research also at the École des Arts Décoratifs and co-organizer of the academic call. And then, most importantly, the ISEA 2023 team consisting of Fanny Testas, Communication and Production Officer, Pauline Barthe, Communication Officer, Sonia Michigan, who I conferred with a lot in preparation for this ISEA, Production Assistant, Alicia Bonneau, Partnership Officer, Clément Thibault, Artistic Coordinator. I met him last year in Barcelona when he was very enthusiastic, and I met him a few days ago and he was almost dead. And of course, Niels Asiasmanov as the director of Cube Garge nowadays. And last but not least, Clio Krajewska, the production director that I had the honor to meet a lot in preparation for the Summit on New Media Archiving that we are organizing right this day and yesterday. Clio has done an amazing job, and there's always one person who is at the head of the rest of the forces and who pulls the whole car, really. And that was this year, it was Clio. 2 years ago in Montreal, 3 years ago, I must say, in Montreal, due to COVID, we had to do it all online. But then the main organizer is now the chair of the ISEA International Board. Her name is Arandi Vergara, and she's going to say a few words to Clio.
Thank you, Wim, and thank you to the team. We didn't get a chance to applaud the team, so I ask you to please join me before I give my little speech. Hello, everyone. So on behalf of the board, I want to thank Clio Krajewska, ISEA2023 production director, for her dedication and professionalism. As Win mentioned, organizing an ISEA edition is a monumental task. It comes with major responsibilities, hours of emails, meetings, numerous sleepless nights. And there is always one person in the team who has to know everything, the big picture and the tiniest details. That person in the case of this ISEA was Clio. And there's one important aspect that we wanted to highlight is that she took the job in October 2022. So 7 months ago, I'll leave it there. The challenge, as you can imagine, was even more significant. So the ISEA International Board wanted to thank and acknowledge Clio because she has done, as Wim said, an amazing job, and she has done it with diligence and leadership. Thank you, Clio.
Thank you so much, Arandi, for your kind words. This has been a collective work, and I'd really like to thank myself again, the team, my closest collaborators. We couldn't do it if there wasn't a team of dedicated people. I want, of course, to thank Niels and Clément, and a special thank to Alicia and Sonia, who are running the operations here at the Forum des Images since 5 days. Pauline, Fanny, and a special thanks to Emmanuel and Edith. It was a tremendous pleasure to work together. And of course, last but not least, the Forum des Images, Claude, Michel, but a special thank to Nathalie Bouvier and her team for organizing this with us here at Forum des Images. Also, I would like to thank 3 people that joined us last minute. I'm talking about Lucie, Sonia, and Vidya Kelly, who were responsible for the 3 main rooms here at the Forum des Images. And also a huge thank you to the team of volunteers. You've done an amazing job, and thank you for your dedication. And of course, a huge thank you to the International Board for your support and for being with us the whole journey. Thank you, Randy, Pat, Jeremiah, Lisa, Jim, Wim. Thank you so much. I think it's time to give you the floor back.
Thank you. And one thing I forgot to mention, and that is that Cleo came in at a later stage. You know, she wasn't involved from the beginning. And this always means that you're confronted with a lot of decisions that have already been taken that you may not have wanted to take. And that makes the job even more difficult and challenging. So well done, Cleo, and your team. So in 2013, we had ISEA in Sydney for the second time. It was also in 1992, one of the first ones. In 2013, some of the same people organized another ISEA with one of the keynote speakers being Julian Assange, which I will never forget, his keynote. And then a tradition started at the end of the symposium, namely the Australians, let's say woke Australians, are very aware of the original inhabitants of their country. And so they were giving quite a lot of attention to the ancient culture of Australia. And one of the things they did was they had a so-called memory stick, which is not a USB stick, but an actual baton. And that would be handed over as if we were running an estafette. And so in 2013, the Australians handed that over to the people who organized 2014 in Dubai and the rest of the Emirates. And the idea was that it would be handed over from year to year, but I think after somebody ran away with that stick. But the tradition has remained. And for example, in 2019, a special Korean lamp was handed over from Korea to Canada. And now this year we are going to see something like that, if I'm not mistaken. I have no idea what it is, but I'm now ready to give the floor to the Australians who will announce the symposium they are going to organize next year, as you can see behind me. So I'd like to introduce Kevin Sight, Anastasia Tiurina, Riva Wright, and Vanessa van Ooyen. Finally, someone with a Dutch name.
Thank you, Wim, and thank you everyone for coming to the handover today. I'm Gavin Sade, and it's my honour to be here today, and it's also an honour to be hosting ISEA back in Australia in 2024 next year. Although every time I speak to someone, they tell me how much work it is, and it's going to take 2 years to recover, so I'm not sure if it's too late to back out. Sorry, we're not backing out. So in Australia, it's customary when addressing an audience, an official event, to acknowledge the country where you're gathering. And ISEA, as a gathering next year, will occur on the land of the Turrbal and the Yuggera people. Australia has many tribal groups or language groups in the country, and the Turrbal and Yuggera are those in the city of Brisbane, which is also known, or part of Brisbane where we'll be hosting the conference is known as Meanjin. The conference will be held elsewhere, so we have other satellite events on other country. Part of that acknowledgement is also to recognise the elders past, present and emerging. And my co-director for ISEA2024 is Wesley Enoch, and he sends his apologies because he couldn't be here. He's in rehearsals for a new production, and he's in Prague at the quadrennial next month. So if anyone is there, you'll get to meet him. We have a video to show of Wesley in a moment, but I just want to talk about the journey to ISEA because it's many years in the making of a bid. Our bid came from a discussion with Sue Gollifer and Ernest Edmonds in 2019. In between then and now, COVID happened and lots of changes occurred. But my personal journey to 2024 started much longer ago. In 1992, I went to the third Symposium of Electronic Art, ISEA, as a young, recently graduated music student, and I have to say that symposium changed the direction of my career. I also met colleagues and friends that I've had for the rest of my life. One of them was Tim Gruchy, who probably left an indelible mark seeing him talk about the way he performed with interactive systems. So he was using a mandala, an Amiga mandala system for live performance, and I worked with him after that for quite a while. Quite some time later, 20 years later, at ISEA in Sydney, I meet Tim again. I hadn't seen him for well over a decade, so ISEA is one of those threads through my life where I've come back and met community. And I think that's the value of symposiums like ISEA, is that there's a really strong community around the event, and people know each other and know each other over long periods of time. I've met people I met in Belfast and Singapore who I haven't seen since at this event, and we have a shared commitment to advancing practices in the electronic arts, but more so a shared commitment to making new images of a future, to create a future that is different to the one that we're rapidly heading towards. And that's sort of the spirit of the theme for ISEA in 2024. When we thought about a theme, the question that came to mind immediately was, what does it really mean to host a nomadic conference on country in Australia? And so our approach has really been informed by thinking about the world differently. And the every when, it comes from that. And if we can play the video, Wesley will introduce Brisbane and talk about every when and where this idea comes from.
Hello, I'm Wesley Enoch, and welcome to Brisbane, a place that we call Meanjin. Meanjin means the point of the spear, the place that juts out. Here in Meanjin, which is literally the place that juts out into the river, we'll be playing host to ISEA 2024. Meanjin is a place of learning, of teaching now, where the QUT campus is. And behind us you can see Old Government House, the house of the governor when the colonial project was started here in this place. And before then, it was a gathering place for Aboriginal people to share food and to make ceremony. The river is a very important part of this city as it snakes its way through, winding around the city. We call it Mewa, And just across here is where people would travel across the river, holding their children above themselves to go to the wetlands, the food places that are just across. The river will also act as a way of holding ISEA 2024 together, from the University of Queensland through to our major cultural centre with our State Library, Art Gallery, Museum and Performing Arts Centre. South Bank, which is a family entertainment and gatherings place, and behind that, the Brisbane Entertainment and Convention Centre, which will host our symposium. Also, a bit further down the river, there'll be the Griffith Art Museum. And across the river here at QUT, a number of sites will have lots of different activities at Old Government House, the Cube, and also the QUT Art Museum. Follow the river around a bit further, we'll come to the Brisbane Powerhouse, which is a reclaimed powerhouse, now an arts and cultural centre. And a bit further around, a few wines come to North Shore, where Superordinary will be playing host to a range of local and national artists in residency and installations. ISEA 2024 has at its theme Every When. The theme Every When is about how land is important, place is important. And in many ways, place is where story and history sit. At the time of all creation, all the stories that were ever going to be told were placed in the landscape. And as Aboriginal people believe, we sit on the landscape and remember the time of creation. We don't create from nowhere. So in many ways, land is the constant, not time. Time is a layering up on place, like this place, from the Aboriginal history to the colonial history to the seats of power to now a place of learning and teaching. And so we're saying at ISEA 2024, come along and sit on country, remember history, remember place, and see where we are today, so that through our arts and cultural lens, we can imagine the future of what technology can bring us, what the digital arts can be into the future. We're looking forward to welcoming you to Meanjin, to Brisbane, to sit on the banks of the Maiwar and understand how time has always been here, in our country, in our land. We look forward to seeing you next year.
Well, I guess the only thing I can add to this is, and I'm saying this without any hesitation, that ISEA 2024 is going to be a very memorable event, one of its kind and something not to be missed. So yeah, like really we look forward to welcome you all in Brisbane in 2024. Thank you.
Thank you, and good luck with the organizing. And remember, you need 2 years to recover after you've done it. It really is an incredible job, but it's satisfying. Like the people here will find out after it's all over, you feel great. This brings us to the official and ceremonial part of this event. I have no idea how that will go, but I think Cleo is the one in charge of this.
With Clément, we have a small gift for Gavin and the team of Meanjin. So, Gavin, from me, a bottle of champagne in celebration of informal, everything that's happening behind the scenes at ISEA that is all as important as the official parts.
And as well, a guy that's really not into digital art, but kind of embody, I guess, French spirit, which is Tampographe Sardon. He's a stamp maker, kind of French humor guy, here with the roofs of Paris, just to have a kind symbol. But you can check his work and find good stamps for next year. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Cleo and Clément. Good to see you, Clément. And maybe you can show everybody what you got. And remember, you have the bottle of champagne you have to hand over to 2025 next year. Wow, that's very special, but a bit hard to see from a distance, I guess. So you have to jump on their neck to. I think this finishes the official part, and I can only say thank you again, Cleo and Clément and the rest of the crew for organizing this great ISEA, and a good luck for you too and your colleagues is organizing next year, and I hope that we can all make it there, get some money from the government or something to go there. Okay, thank you all very much, and thank you for attending this.
Thank you.